All right, well, good afternoon and welcome to the TrinSoft GP Fall 2020 release update. My name is Bobby Haggard and I'm one of the consultants here at TrinSoft, and I'll be walking through a few of the highlights of this 2020 update with you. A few housekeeping notes here before we get started. We have gone ahead and muted all of the phones, try and cut down on some of the background noise. So if you have a question, which we certainly encourage, please use the Q&A feature of the Zoom webinar tool. You could submit those questions. I have a couple of coworkers who are manning the Q&A section to try and help answer some of those. Additionally, if you would like a copy of the slides, I will be showing a slide here at the end that has my contact information, email, phone number. Just drop me a quick email, give me a quick call, or even submit it in the Q&A chat, just to your email, saying you'd like a copy of the slides. We'll be happy to get those sent to you as well. Finally, you can always send us an email or call, and we'll be happy to walk through any of these topics or enhancements or updates that we talk about in this presentation. We'll be happy to talk about those more in depth or pull in a technical resource if needed. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get started with our webinar update. So in the October release, there are some really nice enhancements or improvements that come from top customer requests, partners, and the Microsoft Ideas site, meaning that a lot of these updates were suggested by users and have been implemented to make the user's life easier. With this release, users will discover new innovations across the GP platform, including financial enhancements, including several updates and changes to different windows and forms to make users' lives easier, distribution enhancement, HR enhancements around Social Security masking, system enhancements around scheduling check links, multi-factor authentication, and much more. There's also some top features that have been requested that have been added. Finally, Microsoft has done a great job of listening to you, the user, and trying to incorporate changes, features, and capabilities that were voted as the most popular on the Ideas site. So I'm going to hit on a few of these updates in a fairly rapid fire manner. So let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. First up, there were some additional user-defined fields in the General Ledger transaction entry window that have been added. There are now 2 new user-defined fields, as you can see. To enable the user-defined fields, go to the Financial homepage under Setup and click Financial, and then choose General Ledger. The user-defined labels for the user-defined fields are at the bottom of the General Ledger Setup window, as you see in the left column. Then when the user enters transaction into the General Ledger, they can add information or comments regarding those transactions, as you see on the right. Now, once a transaction has been posted with a user-defined information populated, you will then be able to see this in the Inquiry windows located under the Financial homepage, under Inquiry, then Financials, and then Journal Entry Inquiry. So you can also see that these new fields have been added to Smart Lists and to Edit Lists and Posting Journal Reports as well. So a really nice solution there and a really nice add by Microsoft for a couple of user-defined fields. Next up, the next enhancement is one that I've been asking for since I started working with GP. Now when you print a report to the screen, it'll automatically be maximized to the screen size. This was the largest requested feature of all time, a maximized print output when printing to screen. So this was a huge request by customers over the last several years, and Microsoft has finally put this into the core production. So think about how many times in a day that you print a report to the screen, and now it's just a habit that you're always going to the top right to expand that report to full screen. Well, with this latest release, the 18.3 version, no longer, in just a blink of an eye, once that report is kicked out to your screen, it'll automatically pop out to the full screen mode for you. So it is one kind of caveat to that. This is not available in the web client. So if you are using the GP web client, that is a different look and feel for the user experience. So it's not available in the web client. This is only on the on-premise Windows client. Another nice feature here with the October 2020 release of Dynamics GP, you now have the ability to bulk edit columns on a smart list. So in order to see the new functionality, you will need to start by opening a smart list. You'll then navigate to the specific smart list that you want to edit, such as default sales or customers, and then choose the columns button. Now, once the change column display window opens, you'll notice that there is a new column with check boxes on the left. If you want to remove more than one column, you can mark those and then click remove. Similarly, if you want to mark multiple columns and use the arrow button on the right, you can reorder more than one column at one time. So some really nice features there from Microsoft. All right, up next is the ability to import credit card transactions. Importing a credit card statement to a vendor account in Dynamics GP makes it fast and easy to enter invoice transactions. Users can import the credit card transactions as payable invoices or manual payments. Using the import functionality helps reduce the chances of data entry error and brings invoices for a vendor into a batch. Once the transactions import process is completed, a report will print with a list of transactions and status of those transactions. Once that import process has run, a batch is created and it needs to be posted by the user. Creating the batch and not posting gives the user the ability to verify that the batch before it's posted, and this would also allow the user to change the distribution if needed before they post the batch. If you click transactions and then choose purchasing, click batches, you will then see your imported batch. Now, a new feature for any of the system admins out there is the new Automate Financial Full Reconcile update. In the Reconcile Financial Information window, users can now choose all for the years to be reconciled from the oldest year to the newest year. Prior to this new feature, users would have to reconcile 1 year at a time until they got to the current year. This process will complete 1 year before it starts the reconciliation of the next. Just like now, we don't allow the user to select another year until that first reconciliation is complete. Now, a little tip here, this is still the same dexterity process we have had in the past and may cause performance slowdown if you are doing all of your years, again, depending on your data set. So, and again, you might receive some sort of notification like this saying you've received some summary balances after reconciliation and asking if you want to continue. So just a couple of windows there I wanted to share with you. Next up is the ability to match Excel, copy and paste decimal places to the currency setup. So in earlier versions of Dynamics GP, the Excel copy paste function ignored the decimal and thousands place separator in the currency setup. Well, with this new feature, Dynamics GP now recognizes the Excel copy and paste decimal thousands separator in the currency setup window. So this eliminates routing issues that are sometimes almost impossible to find. So this update will use the decimal place defined in the currency setup instead of the data within Excel. Now, one other note here, in this version 18.3, if you copy and paste in the general ledger and you see an error message that says decimal places do not match currency setup, we recommend that you check the settings of your Excel file, specifically for the format for the debit and credit columns. They must be as a cell format of a number, not accounting. Also, make sure that there are no extra spaces in this field, as that can create some extra problems for you as well. So again, we'll be happy to walk through this with you, but just a couple things to note there. The next update, the next update is related to the non-employee compensation tax form. The IRS is releasing a new 1099 NEC form for the year 2020 tax year. So non-employee compensation, which had previously included the 1099 miscellaneous form, has been moved to its own form. So first, on the vendor card and options, you now have the option of selecting non-employee compensation as a 1099 tax type. Note that there is an ability to make mass updates for this, so if that's needed, any of our TrinSoft technical team will be happy to walk through this process with you. Again, a note here that this feature has been rolled back to Dynamics GP 2016 and those versions to include this 2020 year-end update. So you can review the 1099 details from the purchasing homepage. Under the cards, you would then click 1099 and you would see that tax type there that's available. In addition, when you go to print your NEC form, from the purchasing homepage, you would choose routines and print 99 as usual. Then make sure that your 1099 types is set to non-employee compensation, as we see in the example here. Next up is the 1099 miscellaneous form update. So these updates are in response to the IRS changes. So the non-employee compensation has been moved to its own form, as we just mentioned, and other values are moving to different boxes on the current existing 1099 miscellaneous form. So this form has been revised to meet IRS regulatory changes for the 2020 tax year. And the vendor card points to options, and you go to your 1099 box. There's now click the drop-down menu. Box 9 includes crop insurance and proceeds are reported here. Box 10 is gross proceeds to an attorney related to that box. Box 12 is the Section 409A. Deferrals are reported here. Box 14 is around non-qualified deferred compensation income, and that's where it would be reported. And then box 15 and 17 report state taxes withheld and the amount of income earned in the state, respectively. Box 7 was moved to the 1099 NEC form, and a checkbox payer made direct sales 5,000 or more, etc. So that is now, box 7 is now gone as it's moved to its own form. And then finally, box 16, the state number is not a currency field and is available at the header level of your 1099 detail window. Hence, the data entered into the header will be shown in that form. Again, this feature will be rolled back to versions of Microsoft Dynamics GP 2016 to current. Next up, when a business is created in the United States or Canada, many times they have the option of using a DBA or doing business as name. In addition to the legal entity name, the DBA name is the operating name of the business or how the business is known to customers, as opposed to the legal name of the business. Vendors that have a DBA name in addition to the legal company name and want to have the DBA name appear on 1099 that's issued to them can now do so. So you can add the DBA, the doing business as field, to the vendor maintenance window reporting and on 1099s. Again, as noted earlier, this feature will be rolled back to Dynamics GP 2016 and others for their 2020 year-end update. So by default, this has been added to a couple of reports, as you see here. You see the short name, A Travel or A Travel Company, and then the DBA is Adventure Travel. So that's now added. All right. Who doesn't love copying and paste tools? They're very efficient and save a lot of time. So users now have the ability to copy and paste purchasing transactions from Excel. So this new feature enables users to define purchase transactions along with distribution and import them into the payables transaction entry window in Dynamics GP. This will improve efficiency, reduce rekeying error, and enhance the user experience. With this feature, you can choose to do distributions or not, similar to our general ledger copy paste option. So when you use the transaction entry window to copy and paste the purchasing transaction and purchasing distributions options, the Excel spreadsheet must have the required fields in this order to do the copy and paste correctly. Not all amount fields need to have an amount, and you must copy and paste all the data fields only. Do not include the header fields. So once the user is in the payables transaction window, they'll need to put their cursor in the purchasing field and then choose the paste button from the toolbar. Distributions will again default from the vendor record unless you paste in distributions. It is not required to do distributions. So a really nice time-saving feature there. Next up is the ability to export, import stock counts to Excel. So with stock counts, users now have the ability to export and import data with Excel within the stock count window, giving you more flexibility with this process. The stock count schedule window now has a new action called export import, and this will allow the user the ability to export the data to an Excel file. The export import action will not be available until the start count action has been selected. If the cancel count option has been selected, the export action will be disabled once again. The export can be done several times as long as the account has been started. So the export action will create a file called stock count with the month, date, and year and the Excel name, and that you can save to a location of your choosing. From there, you can then edit that file as needed. Now, important, we recommend that you add in the quantity, serial lot numbers, as you would as if you're doing it manually in the stock count entry window. Again, note an important action here will not be available for the stock count schedule window. It's only the export is available. Finally, a nice update to the human resources area is the masking of Social Security numbers. Now, a few versions back, Microsoft added the Social Security number mask for payroll. That prompted the request for Microsoft to add this feature to the human resources report. So they did. So on the human resource preference page, towards the bottom of the window, you will now see a button called Ssn Mask that was added. By default, on the install, everything will be marked as masked. If you would like to see the Social Security number on the report, you'll need to unmark it from this window. And here's an example of a report with the Social Security numbers masked. All right, now I've listed here the resources for where you can review some of the other updates. As I mentioned, there is some more technical updates that have been included, such as TSL updates or multi-factor updates, some other updates for partners and for some of the system admins that are out there. So if you have an interest in reviewing that, would certainly encourage you to visit our TrinSoft blog, as well as the Microsoft release plan, where they have each of these updates and enhancements outlined in detail with examples, which is really nice. So I would encourage you to read those two posts related to this release plan. Finally, I would also encourage you to visit the ideas site, that is aka.microsoft, and then you would find the GP ideas site. And this is a great place where Microsoft is actually has people posting updates and suggestions from current clients and current users of enhancements, of new updates, of new ability to do things. So once you have a post that's out there, others will see it and they can promote it, vote for it, encourage it, etc. And as we've seen with this release, any of those that are really triggering a lot of votes or a lot of activity, Microsoft certainly looks at to consider and pull into the system. So again, really encourage you to hit those release plans and hit those idea sites. All right, let me take a quick peek here at our Q&A. Okay, it looks like there's a question here about the 1099 non-employee compensation, asking if there's a way to move all the vendors that currently are marked as miscellaneous in box 7 to this new form. So yes, there is a mass update option that is available. So yeah, please get with our team. We'll be happy to walk through that process with you to show how that can be done. So yes, that can be done as long as you're on this latest version of GP. All right. I don't see any other questions. I'll give you just another minute or two here. So if you have a question, please feel free to pop that into the Q&A and we will certainly get or try and get that answered for you. If your question is more specific to your company setup, how your company operates, etc., we completely understand. Please, in that case, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Just send me a quick email or drop me a call and we'll be happy to schedule some time and talk through those with you. So again, if you have any questions, please hit that in our Q&A. If you would like a copy of the presentation slides or a recording, please just ask me. We will certainly get that sent your way once we have a second to edit that. So all right, I'm not seeing any more questions come through on the Q&A. With that, we'll go ahead and end our webinar here. Certainly thank you guys for taking the time to join our GP 2020 release update. Stay tuned for upcoming webinars that we have coming up. We have a GP year-end webinar coming up as we get close to ending 2020. Again, we'll just review some of the tips and tricks on how to close out the year successfully within GP. It's always a nice refresher course for our team to have. Again, if you want a copy of the presentation slides, please just shoot me a quick email, give me a call. We'll be happy to get those passed along to you. And again, if you have any questions, let us know. We'll get some of our technical team members involved and we'll be sure to take good care of you. With that, we'll go ahead and end it. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your day.